pretty much just the video. There's just a weird, unhealthy interest in this case.
Yeah.
The Morphew case.
So that's what I was informed, is it was reference to that.
Yeah, and the case started in Salida.
Colorado judges and lawyers are having an interesting time in the case of Barry Morphew. Finally, he'll be going to trial at some point, but we probably won't get to watch it. Hopefully we will. What is going on in Colorado? I feel like Barry Morphew and his lawyer, they've won again. Well, Barry's criminal defense attorney has hyped up the judge, his current judge, and the judge has just issued a new order basically banning the public from watching Barry Morphew in future hearings, but she might change her mind.
I know you don't pay attention to weird internet stuff, but you better see this one. I was like, well, I don't. Why are you telling me about it? He said, it seems threatening.
Now, I'm grateful I took a day and read all these documents, and we're going to read from the unredacted Colorado document letting you know why. I see why this judge made the decision she has made. I understand it now. Once I read more, took my time, didn't just jump on screen with half-truths.
He seems unstable. I've seen him in person, and you've probably seen the video. He gives me the creeps, man. He's a little scary. And I've seen a lot of people come in court. You just never know, predicting human behaviors.
Okay, we've been waiting for justice for Suzanne Morphew, Barry Morphew's murdered wife, since Mother's Day 2020. It'll be like 6 years before this man, this yahoo, Barry Morphew, gets to stand trial. Hopefully, Suzanne will get her justice.
I get home, I watch the video, and it's weird. He's wearing body armor, like a bulletproof vest, and then he shows up in my courtroom in a duster.
Judges in the Barry Morphew case are still freaking out over the public's reaction. Once I read certain comments that were placed in this unredacted document, I see the misunderstanding. I see the way the person who commented on YouTube, how she or he likely meant their comment, because I was watching the live stream from Colorado's Webex that they previously let us watch, and I see how it's been misconstrued and kind of amped up by Barry's lawyer, forcing the judge's hand to make a decision to ban us all. And I see other comments and actions from people and why the judge made this decision. We're going to go over all of it, a lot of it. It is wild.
Upset about rulings I made that he didn't like. You know, I'm a judge, you know, people say bad things about you all the time. We're kind of used to it. But he seemed to take it to another level. At about minute 22, he says, Judge Lama needs to resign or get off the case. I'm giving you time. Honey, this guy's gone up and down the street like 4 times. Something may have been a coincidence.
We're going to talk about dead foxes. We're going to talk about lawyers. We're going to talk about fancy, schmancy, high-costing lawyers, I'm sure. Letters sent to their homes. Threats interpreted as such on YouTube.
She's really freaked out. She thinks she's being followed. She said one person approached her. She thought was maybe a reporter, but I'm not so sure. Because I said, did she give you credentials? What'd she say? She said, talk to me about Suzanne Morphew. And she was like, ma'am, leave me alone. And then I was in Salida for maybe 4 hearings. So I had an interaction with him in court.
Oh, really?
Yeah, January 23rd. I think that's why he was so upset. His name was brought up by the defense attorneys on record, and it was being broadcast on Webex, so he heard that.
This unredacted document tells us a lot. Well, do you remember that body cam video I published? I had purchased it from Colorado. I'm giving into your coffers there, Colorado. I'm giving into your court system, into your entire thing. It's a body cam video from March 14th, 2022, when Barry Morphew's initial judge, Judge Lama, he had called the cops regarding a certain YouTuber that he thought was following him or was a little bit paranoid, thought the guy was around his house, and turns out it wasn't the guy. And he was paranoid about a woman following his ex-wife. That video's below. I'll probably put snippets through all of it.
And then she just told me, you know, everything. what was going on with her.
So she's comfortable talking to you about it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if something's going on, she would let you know.
She
would
was
call you if something
scared.
was going on.
Yeah, she
Okay.
would. No, she was like, this is horrible. People are saying all these untrue things about you. No, it's not. That's a weird one.
Do a lot of people know that you live here or lived here? I mean,
I think so.
okay.
I mean, I don't know. It's weird.
It is kind of.
It is. I tried to keep tabs on it. It's like, I don't know. This job kind of hurts your social life a little bit.
It does, and this is well out of the way, so it's kind of.
I know.
Is confusion reigning in Colorado? I hope not. You're about to see the real reason why Barry's judge has blocked basically all of us, the public, from watching his next hearing. And we're going to talk too a little bit about the behavior and comments deemed threatening that perhaps can stop, and maybe Barry's new judge will change your mind about blocking us from Webex. There is a caveat I'll read at the end at her order, which kind of left the door open for maybe if we play nice, they'll play nicely. I mean, if I see on a court system, do not record, I don't record. You know, I'm not rebroadcasting this thing. Even when the judge down there in Atlanta said, look, you can't record this particular hearing you're sitting in on, or else you'll be threatened with contempt of court. So I obeyed. I'm like, yes, Your Honor. You guys know I've been following the case of Barry Morphew since 2020, since like that first week Suzanne was missing. Of course I'd love to bring you the live stream video, the courtroom video, but I'm going to follow the court's orders. You know, it's about the long-term gain. You know how they say not all money is good money? You know, like you just can't do any and everything. Anyway, Barry is set to appear in court again for his next status conference on Monday, November 3rd, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. But that live stream Webex hearing won't be available as it normally would be on the Alamosa Courtroom C for the public, all of us to watch. Not even audio. We can't even watch it too. You know, I really like to watch it myself because I want to get the actual words said, the actual movements. So then when I'm bringing you, oh, this is what happened in court today, I know it's like, okay, I actually saw that. It's not some reporter's interpretation of what was said or seen. Anyway, let's talk about Barry's defense attorney's original motion, this D9 motion, and how he put all sorts of screenshots and allegations in that document. So thank God I downloaded the 14-page document. Find the link below to it. It is literally, even though the judge is claiming, you'll see coming up, that it's not publicly available, it's still publicly available. Find the link to it. It's on my Patreon. Confusion. I want to read the juicy parts. I want to read the parts that just helped me get it. I'm like, oh, I get it. I understand. This district court judge, Amanda C. Hopkins, I see why she's afraid. I see why she made the decision she made. So we're going to get into that wild document and the confusing new order referencing that original document from Barry's lawyer, and we'll read all the ensuing orders. I feel like I just need to place a caveat here. Everything I'm going to show you in this video is from publicly available Colorado court documents. I'm not doxing anyone. I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm not practicing contempt of court. I'm not doing any of those things. I want to make that clear. This is from Colorado's court website, publicly available document. That's what I'm showing. Now, about this document, the judge wrote just a few days ago on October 27th, 2025. Both the content of the screenshots of the unlawful recordings and the commentary by viewers was redacted in the publicly available version of Motion D009 and will not be repeated here in this publicly available order to prevent further harm coming from this behavior. The unredacted version of the defendant's motion will remain available for appellate court review. Okay. Both are still publicly available. That's why I'm like, wait a minute. Now, you'll find the publicly available version of this motion D009 that I previously downloaded. It's not redacted. How else would I have gotten it if it wasn't on the Colorado court website? I don't have any insider information like they'll talk about in this document. Okay, some documents are obviously available in the People of the State of Colorado versus Barry Morphew at that coloradojudicial.gov node 13869. That's full of court documents. Okay, that's where the redacted version is of Barry's lawyer's motion to block us all from Webex. But if you know where to look, the unredacted version is out there too on the Colorado website. That's what I'm reading from to show you what the heck is going on here. It's 14 pages. Again, find the link to it below. It's called Unopposed Motion to Cease Unmonitored Live Stream of Court Proceedings. Might I say, they're going to talk about several YouTubers. Some of them I'm fond of, I watch and everything. So that's one reason I hesitated even getting into this, but I want to get into it because it's like all sorts of feels. Mainly sadness yesterday because I knew this was coming. I was like, oh, this judge is going to say enough is enough. She's going to go with what Barry Morphew's lawyer is telling her in this motion. Here is his motion, the highlights, and that's what happened. Comes now, Barry Morphew, by and through his counsel, this David M. Beller. The move last month was to cease live streaming court proceedings and instead adopt an alternative means of remote public viewing via a verified account on Webex so that visitors and potential abusers are identified and IP addresses are trackable, as opposed to the unmonitored live stream. This motion's made pursuant to the law. The people do not oppose the relief requested. So the state is not even opposing this motion apparently, but due to their private schedules have not seen the final version of the contents of this motion. Well, you're going to see it. Okay, as for the grounds that Morphew is alleging, there's a law that provides all criminal court proceedings conducted in open court shall be, quote, available for remote public viewing and listening in real time through an online platform, which may include participatory web conferencing platforms. That's the rule. You know who I feel bad for the most? I just read a comment from someone who knew Suzanne, went to school with Suzanne or something. You know, people in Indiana who knew her for years, I'm sure her church friends, all these people who can't necessarily afford to fly out to Colorado and cram into some small courtroom if they're lucky enough to even get a spot. They've been relying on, watching it via the public live stream. If they're not deemed, for example, one of the close, maybe loved ones, victims, whatever they have to go through, like Suzanne's brother who wrote this amazing victim impact statement. Hopefully people like him, as close to Suzanne as he was, will be able to still get in there and watch it. But I'm thinking about her friends or random people who really loved her and cared for her. They want to watch it too. It's not just us in the public, us YouTubers or whatever. These other people, they can't watch it either. So this rule exists. We should be able to watch it remotely. However, there are exceptions. Remote public viewing is not required if, quote, based on the particular facts and circumstances of the case, this court finds there's a reasonable likelihood remote observation of live proceedings risks comprising the safety of any person. And there's a reason that's put first, because the judge and these lawyers feel unsafe. And I will read you. We will get to the particular live stream comments that likely helped her make her decision. It's not just the fact that it was live streamed so publicly. They're going to talk about the commentary that went along with it. They're afraid of it riling people up to perform more actions like we're going to talk about coming up. If there's a reasonable likelihood, Barry's risk of his right to a fair trial, including violations of sequestration orders or the victim's rights pursuant to the law. Also, there's no less restrictive alternative that preserves the public interest in remote observation while mitigating the identified risk. So basically, they're trying to cut down on risks compromising the safety of any person. So the lawyer is talking about risks to physical and emotional safety, intimidation, and harassment. He wrote here, live streaming has invited countless unsavory characters into the lives of all parties, witnesses, victims, counsel, the lawyers, the attorneys, and members of the judiciary, and provided them with unfettered access to harass and abuse. Okay. He talks about how normally live streaming is available for most criminal cases in Colorado. You go to this website, live.coloradojudicial.gov. The home screen landing page prominently states in 2 places in 2 fonts, warning, warning, even though it is kind of small, warning, do not record or reproduce the court proceedings. Any recording of these proceedings, including any audio recording, visual recording, screen capture, or photograph without the express prior written authorization of the court is prohibited and may subject you to contempt proceedings, including a fine, jail, or both. Now, when I see that, and I tend to look for it, some YouTube channels, if it's a judge's channel or whatever, sometimes they'll put it boldly in red. I love when they say, do not record. Okay, I see it easily. Some, like this website, it's a little smaller, but I still look for it. You guys know I love research. I'm research heavy, but I know everyone isn't like me. And even reading some of these documents previously, it was confusing. People were confused. Are we allowed to live stream it or not? We can just watch it, or can we record it? Can we rebroadcast it? Over time, it became apparent we're not supposed to rebroadcast it. I know people don't agree with that. Even though I don't agree with that, I didn't break the rule. I'm not breaking the law just to bring my viewers a video if the court and the judge is saying no. I'm just not going to do it. But here we go. They start talking about people who did do it. Despite statutory and CJD prohibitions and the warnings stated above, the status conference hearing held on September 2nd, 2025 was live streamed by at least 2 YouTube user accounts, reaching viewers in this judicial district in Colorado, across the country, and throughout the world. And it says multiple ads, commercials interrupted the broadcast. I was like, what does that have to do with anything? I'm like, so what? YouTube has ads. How do you think we're able to do this for a living? Like lawyers get paid, judges get paid. Anyway, let me stop. Nothing I'm saying is threatening. Nothing I'm saying should ever be deemed as threatening. This is just my commentary, my criticisms, and the places where I agree with the lawyer and the judge. And I understand why she made her decision. Okay, they have 2 screenshots. It says, while Tombstones only has 100 subscribers, JLR Investigates has 432,000. I'm like, wow, I see why. I mean, I like watching JLR in terms of he's on the scene. He's not afraid to be boots on the ground and go live and just talk about what's happening. So they show a screenshot of Tombstones, and maybe that's both hers. Tombstones is definitely on the right. It's called Colorado versus Barry Morphew Status Conference Live. In fact, I just checked. That video is still up there. Maybe they don't care because, they still care, of course, but it didn't get that many views. I cannot find JLR's live stream of the September 2nd, 2025 hearing. But Barry's lawyer certainly did. It's funny how I'm like, yeah, of course, court officials, they can find it. All we have to do is type Barry Morphew and click live or click upload date while it's going on, and you see who's live streaming it. It's easy to find. It says, as of September 16th, 2025, the JLR broadcast and live streaming of the September 2nd, 2025 hearing has over 17,000 views and counting on YouTube. So that was as of last month. It's called Barry Morphew Colorado Bond Hearing Live. This is what it seems like they had the most problem with. The commentary surrounding JLR's video. They're going to talk about his commentary and the comments that came in, and one I can see they really misconstrued. The lawyer wrote, the filming and simultaneous broadcasts include everything that could be seen on the live stream, including a view of the victims, and everyone else in the courtroom. Now, by victims, they're going to deem Barry Morphew's daughters or whomever else was in there, I guess, related to Suzanne as victims. The lawyer, lawyers are going to play it up, and I can see him doing that. The lawyer wrote, the names of those admitted into this court's Webex are also displayed. Indeed, we can see, Melinda Mormon, Suzanne's sister, who's older by 15 years of Suzanne. We could see when she came in. The lawyer wrote, JLR also filmed himself committing contempt of court by live streaming the hearing. So they have a note. In this motion, the live stream imaged on the left, below is referred to as the JLR broadcast. So that was JLR's screenshot or whatever on the left with Barry with the jail, bars behind him. I love it. And he's looking all menacing. The live stream imaged on the right below is identified as the Tombstones broadcast. So they have both. Then they have another screenshot. Again, this is not me committing any contempt of court. I am just showing you the document that is publicly available on Colorado's website. It's a screenshot apparently of the Webex, Alamosa Courtroom C. We can see JLR. We can actually see the judge. We see Melinda Mormon's name, Andrew Mormon, Suzanne's other brother. It says notably both broadcasts include the prominent display of the live stream notice that proceedings may not be recorded or transmitted. So they're saying you're live streaming it and then, you look here and it shows the warning, do not record or reproduce the court proceedings. The lawyer, here's the comments we want to go over. These are the straws that broke the camel's back. This was the tipping point. Like previously a hearing was streamed. I remember people like, no, don't stream it. We're all going to lose access. And then that was streamed. Nothing kind of happened. The next one was streamed. And now this motion came and the judge was like, I agree with the lawyer. Block him. The lawyer wrote the contemporaneous commentary emblazoned across the courtroom images throughout the JLR broadcast. He called it venomous and threatening, not only towards Mr. Morphew, but also his daughters who are victims in this case. Okay, here we go. Someone wrote, all caps, looks like we'll be going on a bear hunt, everyone. Eyes. Okay. So, Barry the bear hunting. This is the thing about commentary. You can't hear the tone. You can't hear a person, what they mean. I can hear it sometimes because I read it and I think twice and I realize not everything is a freaking threat. Although I have to say, one of the reasons I don't go live, it annoys me because people generally are not clear in their writing. Oh, it's so annoying. Instead of using a person's name, and sometimes they do that on purpose, or they don't use their initials, they'll just start using pronouns. Like I had a friend who used to say, she would literally start out a conversation this way. So he come into the room and then he said, and I'm like, who are you talking about? Like, she didn't even say, Barry came into the room last night, and then he said to me, no, it was just like, anyway, I'm not a grammar, I try not to be so crazy because of course I get things wrong too. But sometimes the way people write, you cannot understand what they're talking about. So they're saying, okay, looks like we'll be going on a bear hunt, everyone. Maybe they just mean, I want to see Suzanne get her justice. Not that we're going out there and hunting Barry Morphew literally. But of course, that's how this lawyer is positing it to the judge. Someone else wrote, he's a monster. I mean, I can agree with that. Victims' daughters are just showing their disgraceful behavior now. Some people don't like Suzanne's daughters. Personally, I've always felt sorry for them. I feel like they're kind of like hypnotized or gaslit or whatever, afraid, whatever Barry's doing to them. Some people think the daughter should have, spoken out more. I don't even think the youngest was 18 when this all happened. I feel sorry for what they've been through. But some people are like, those daughters, they should have, and it gets a little harsh. Here we go. These comments about Judge Amanda C. Hopkins that I believe were misinterpreted kind of harshly, and this is why she was like, nope, cutting you all out. It's sad to me that the behavior of a few people just means so many other people have lost their access to watch the hearings. Someone wrote, what the hell is wrong with these judges? Okay, maybe not that bad. Here we go. Barry is an animal and this judge is a fool. I'm like, what? This is before he had even been released on bond. I don't even know why they're calling the judge a fool. Another thing that gets me about people who are so anonymous or keyboard warriors, it's very easy to just type up whatever if you think you're anonymous, if you think it has no impact on anyone, when it honestly does. Would you say that in person to the judge, to her face, if you were in her courtroom? Like the Fulton County judge who allowed me into that divorce hearing, Kim Zolciak and Corey Bierman, and she told me, threatened me with contempt. You better not record anything. She said, if any videos of this hearing get out, I'll know it was you, Miss Plunder, or whatever she said. She was cool though. But I was thinking to myself, and I didn't even say it, but I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, what if someone else in this hearing is recording it and that gets out? That doesn't mean I did it. It was only a select few people in the hearing. Thank God no one recorded it. But when she gave me that admonition, I said, yes, Your Honor. I was not going to disrespect a judge. Judge who has the power to throw you in jail? I'm not catching a case for nobody. I tell you that. I say that all the time. I am not catching a case, Lord willing and Jesus, for no one. You guys know I go into my local jail every month for prison ministry. I've seen what it's like in there. An hour in there was enough. Anyway, Barry is an animal, someone wrote, and this judge is a fool. Okay. So fine, that's going a little bit farther. This is the main comment that I know they got wrong. Judge would need to hide herself. Oh boy. I could see it happening. You know how you can see it happening, how the enemy, Satan, is the father of lies, the father of the air, and a person says one thing and they totally misconstrue it. Like one time with my ex, I was at this Chicago check cashing place and he was trying to get money from his dad or whatever. It wasn't going through. The woman behind the glass said, you need to give him a call. What did my ex hear? You need to get on the ball. And so he starts going off and I'm like, all she said was you need to give him a call. So this is what I see happening here. Now, initially, I remember when this hearing was going on, I was just watching it and I saw the judge. She hadn't gone on camera yet or something was going on. So that's what this person was talking about. This person was saying judge would need to hide herself. Like I understood it to mean, sure, of course the judge is going to hide herself. She's hiding herself. The way it's interpreted in these documents, as you'll see coming up when we read through all the evidence or the assumptions, allegations, this was interpreted as that judge is going to need to hide herself because we're coming at her. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's how they interpreted this comment. And that's part of the problem with people not being able to express themselves verbally. I love the English language. I wish people could just be more descriptive and think about it. Even if it's like they're anonymous, they're commenting on a live stream, they don't think it means nothing but a hill of beans. Some people I really notice, they'll comment and they just hit enter and it's like all wrong, or talk to text. Of course, that gets it all wrong. Sometimes I know people are driving or whatever and they don't have time, but it's like before you hit publish, at least try and reread what you're writing. So this person is saying judge would need to hide herself. If only this person had written it more descriptively, like what I believe. For some reason, I feel like it was a woman. What I believe this woman was writing. I think what she really meant was, oh my goodness, I can't see the judge on the Webex. Is she hiding herself? That comes off a lot less threatening than how they interpreted this comment. Judge would need to hide herself. They're thinking this person is issuing a threatening comment saying, judge would need to hide herself because you'll see more what I mean. Then they start talking about the relationship between Barry and his daughters is sick. Yeah, there's been a weird, I don't know. There is just like, I just think he's this Bengali who's manipulating them. Another comment, it is inconceivable that these girls cannot support their mother, the woman that gave birth to them, over a man that took her life. Absolutely crazy. God bless Suzanne, and may you get the justice she deserves. To me, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, the girls are victims. This person believes the girls aren't supporting their mother, the woman that gave birth to them. Absolutely crazy. I don't see any threats towards the daughters here. And in fact, even in Suzanne's brother's victim impact statement, which his lawyer, Barry's lawyer, is going to diss about it being public, but it was really powerful. Just wait till we read that. Okay, in that victim impact statement, even Suzanne's own brother, the girl's uncle, says that they've been manipulated. Now, That doesn't mean he's threatening them or dissing them. He's just saying they've been manipulated. That's the same thing I feel. Someone else wrote, his children are delusional. Their poor mom, how horrified she must be. Okay, I think they do have a certain level of delusion, but I do think they're victims. Again, I don't think that's threatening. Oh, here's another one. Shame on the girls. They will see crying, crying, crying. That could be interpreted as a threat if you're looking at it in the worst way. Maybe this person meant shame on the girls. They will see when their father is convicted that he really did this, that he lied to them. Like, just give us some more words. That's my only thing. Just give us more descriptive. Sometimes it's like pulling teeth. That's why with live streams especially, or even not live streams, sometimes you have to read again and again what a person has written to try and figure out what they mean. And again, I've compared them to the Manson girls, because they feel like they're being emotionally, mentally controlled by Barry. That's what I mean. But never do I ever mean for anyone to watch any video of mine or hear anything I say and go after anyone. Even if it's the defendant and they're accused of the worst, most heinous crime, let the law take its course. Let God do his thing through the courtroom. Okay, someone else wrote, his attorney said, since he lost his wife, not since his wife went missing with another man, like they said, he should have no bond. And I don't even understand that first sentence. Okay, I know Barry's lawyer said, since he lost his wife, people take issue with that language. Not since his wife went missing with another man, like they said. Okay, I think I see what this person's... See, I have to read it over and over again just to understand. They're saying, okay, previously, Iris Eaton, Barry's original lawyers, and I forget, what was that other lawyer's name? I was no fan of Iris Eaton, but never would I call her out her name or encourage anyone to harm her, dox her, nothing. Iris Eaton had a theory that Suzanne went missing with some other man. Maybe she ran off to Ecuador with the guy, Jeff Libler, she was having an affair with. Well, since Suzanne's remains were found, identified as such, from her, body or bones or something full of the BAM chemical that Barry had access to, okay, that theory's gone out the water. So now she's saying his current attorney is stating since he lost his wife, not since his wife went missing with another man like they said, he should have no bond. His attorney should be arrested for accessory after the crime and fired. Obviously, his attorney had a problem with that comment. Now, do I think Barry's lawyer should be arrested? No. Am I a fan of Barry's lawyer? No. But I'm mature enough to understand criminal defense attorneys have a job to do. I'm glad they're there. I'm glad they're offering him the best defense due process so that a jury of Barry's peers can convict his butt and put him in prison. Okay, but unless his attorney did something illegal, I don't think he should be arrested. So the last comment that they pulled out that Barry's lawyer took issue with. Looks like his daughters walked in. I can tell by the black hair and the blonde hair and the clothes they wear. So that just lets us know maybe that was nothing threatening, but the viewpoint that people could see would be of the victims, and we're not supposed to record the victims and all that stuff. So, and I think only one of his daughters might have been there. That's it for those comments. And I guess part of me, it's almost like a plea to everyone. I know people think I'm crazy when I always hope that folks could moderate themselves, reel themselves in. I guess that's sort of like a plea. If the judge ever does give us access again to the Webex, some people even, they were like commenting, what trial was that? I can't remember. Some people were like commenting on the Webex, on the judge's Webex, as if they were over on YouTube. And my whole plea is to not go crazy with the rhetoric. I know some people are like, have very strong feelings. And some people, some of them like to hide behind avatars, fake names. They think they could just talk with impunity and say whatever. I guess my plea is that if people could just relax and breathe and tone it down. What is that scripture? Be quick to listen and slow to speak. That's my thing. I know these days the whole spiel is to get on here, some people, and just be over the top and, to draw viewers. And I just don't want to do that. But it says, Barry's lawyer said, after the court hearing concluded, JLR commented for some 15 minutes about Mr. Morphew and the deficiencies of the prosecution and the defense. He followed up by posting the same on X, formerly Twitter. So yeah, we have a right to comment, of course, on anything, give our commentary, as long as it's not threatening, of course. But they have a screenshot from JLR Investigates. It says, Barry's daughters know he murdered Suzanne Morphew. They are covering for him. This is a trio of evil. And they kind of highlighted trio of evil. Then it says JLR pledged to continue live broadcasting all the way through the trial. Okay, they get into JLR Investigates, Jonathan Lee Riches, and his whole history. I'm not going to read all of that. What I want to do is read one specific footnote that tells you why the judge is probably really scared. It talks about Mr. Rich's identity is corroborated by the logo he places in the corner of his videos. It goes into all these multiple findings of vexatious filings by Mr. Riches. I'm laughing because I'm thinking of tortuous. Oh, torturous. I gotta look that up. I'm laughing because I was thinking of a tortious lawsuit, a type of civil lawsuit filed when someone has been harmed by the wrongful conduct of another party.
Tortious.
Tortious, not torturous. Oh, if you know, you know. That's what made me laugh just now. But they didn't call his tortious, they called his vexatious, which is, I believe, just like many harmful fake filings. Let's see what that means.
Vexatious.
Causing or tending to cause annoyance, frustration, or worry. So that's what Barry's lawyer talked about, all these previous lawsuits. But one was very important. Again, go to the link below to read all that. I don't want this video to be 2 hours long. They go into JLR's past, and you know, the thing about it is, I like JLR. He's been always kind to me and helpful. He's talked about when people bring up his past, he's talked about turning over a new leaf, starting a new life, going, you know, repenting and going a different way. And that's why I watch him. So if you want to dig all into that, you can. The only part that I will read is they're talking about on July 11th, 2018, one indictment. They allege JLR posed under the name Jared Lee Lawner, sued former Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords for $25 million. Okay, now, if you go down to the denoted note, Number 4, about describing who that is, Jared Lee Lawner is an American mass murderer, entered a guilty plea, 19 charges of murder, attempted murder that happened January 8th, 2011. The Tucson shooting in which this Jared guy shot 13 people, severely injured U.S. Rep. Gabby Giffords, killed 6 people, including Chief District Court Judge John Roll. So that's why they included that particular indictment. And so Barry's lawyer obviously is conflating, oh, JLR posed as this Jarrett guy, and this Jarrett guy ended the life of so many people, including a judge. And I can imagine the judge reading that in Barry Lee Morphew's case like, whoa. So then they get back off of JLR and they start bringing up stuff that I'm like, what does that have to do with any threatening behavior? Barry's lawyer writes, now, nary a year, I like the way he writes though, nary a year after being released from federal probation, Livestream permits people like Mr. Riches to commit contempt of court and rile up the public, treating the parties to the Morphew litigation as mere entertainment for him and his followers. This consumption of true crime entertainment is not limited to Mr. Riches. Now this says Mr. Morphew was a topic of panels in Denver at CrimeCon 2025. Who cares? What does that have to do with a hill of beans? Barry Morphew is accused of a heinous crime. Of course he's going to be talked about at CrimeCon 2025. He just says that for no reason. He says some other things where I'm like, if he were in there, I'd be like, evidence, what is your grounds? Show me your grounds. Anyway, he goes on to write, the lawyer, the public filing of a victim impact statement resulted in worldwide headlines and countless social media postings. Who cares? Because it's from Suzanne's brother. Now, let me read it to you. Talk about a good writer. This was mailed July 1st, 2025. The name of the victim is David Mormon. He's the brother of Suzanne. He wants to be present at the sentencing hearing. I do not blame him. Describe how this crime has affected your life and family. Oh, he's going to describe it all right. What could be done to assist in repairing the harm? Conviction of Barry Morphew. Look at all this. And this is right there on the Colorado website. He's not asking for restitution. He's not asking for money. He's asking for Barry to be convicted. Okay, here's his victim impact statement. It's so good. August 21st, 2025. It's so good. So he wrote to the DA. Dear Miss Callie, as the oldest sibling of Suzanne Mormon Morphew, I have prepared the following statement for you in the court. I have no financial requests from the district or citizens of the county. Contact me. He wrote, I have laid awake many nights pondering the last few minutes of my sister Suzanne's life. Once struck by the bam latent dart, it is hard to imagine the terror she felt as she tried to escape. With every pounding heartbeat, the chemical quickened its pace into her system, just like it had on so many deer her now psychopathic partner had shot. Oh, I could just give this man a standing ovation. The screams, the tears, the pain were the outward expressions as her physical body began to separate from her spirit and soul, one trying to hang on to the earthly realm, while the other, in quiet resignation, came to grips with the tipping point that had been reached. As the chemical did its work, the physical struggle would soon end, and her heart stopped. The separation was now complete, allowing her spirit to rise above the morbid stage. Her conscious human presence on earth was over. As she contemplated the marriage to this monster, her thoughts migrated to a question she repeated innumerable times in her life. What was I thinking? Like while she's leaving the earth. As she gazed at the limp corpse, her former body, and the last testament to her earthly presence, she now understood her death was a symbolic culmination of her marriage, one where she was nothing but a live trophy for public display by a cunning predator, much like the animal trophies he had displayed on the walls. Her legacy will hopefully help others, men and women, avoid the fate she has suffered with her marriage to a heartless narcissist. As she watched her killer frantically work to cover a crime he would never escape, she grasped the freedom from captivity she had not felt but for a few fleeting moments over the last 25 years. This new status as a roaming spirit allowed her powers far beyond anything she imagined on Earth. Powers that see the future with the ability to guide actions. And it would be with these powers she would enjoy the last word, underlined last word. Regardless of how long it took or where her remains would come to rest, she resolved to keep calling from the wilderness and cleverly guide her killer to the corner. Her plan was to turn his egotistical narcissism and gaslighting into his personal soul-consuming prison for both this life and his next. Suzanne's spirit has guided all of us down a tortuous, look how life works, down a tortuous path to this point. The stage setting has changed and changed again, which has tested both hope and patience. An arrest, the hope of a trial, a release without prejudice, and the images of a gloating killer, he does like to smile, doesn't he, and the heartbreaking manipulation of her daughters she loved so much. So even he's saying that the daughters have been manipulated. She has disgustingly watched the scheming jackal from her perch, all with the satisfaction of knowing she would have the last word. Through the seasons of over 3 years, 1,231 days, a core group of tireless investigators moved along a trail that would start in Chaffee and end just off the Highway 17, a fateful rendezvous on the morning of September 22nd, 2023, with a dedicated public servant who rose that day having no idea of the part they would play in my sister's saga. The scattered remains on a premeditated stage provided a reward for the thousands of hours of work done on her case. The amazing forensic work would be the final push to a finish line where a seated grand jury could render a first-degree murder indictment. We have all finally arrived at the point where Suzanne can receive justice. For all those who knew and loved her, this is a very bittersweet moment, as we would love to see her smile, hear her laugh, and enjoy her wonderfully accepting personality. But we now must march forward to finish the journey, which should never have begun. All involved, whether family, friends, investigators, followers, citizens of Chaffee and that other county, I don't want to butcher the name, have paid a staggering emotional price in this saga. The accused are offered their day in court, but on my sister's behalf, I'm requesting the following. This didn't fly either. The interim release of Barry Morphew should under no circumstances be granted. It was granted. I'm sure the grand jurors who indicted him would agree. Yeah, what about them? What about their safety? I know we are worried. We should be worried about everyone's safety. Okay, of course they say they're worried about the jurors' safety, but what about those grand jurors who indicted Barry and now he's off freely roaming around? That's, I know we want to keep the judge safe, all lawyers safe, even Barry Morphew safe so he can stand trial. But yeah, what about the grand jurors? He's a flight risk and a serial psychopathic controller of all in the realm of his influence. He needs to remain imprisoned through the entire legal proceedings till a verdict is read. While death by hanging is deserved for the nature and the premeditated planning of this crime, I'm requesting a life sentence with no chance of parole. If the truth were acknowledged, Barry Morphew is a soulless, sadistic, amoral predator that has hunted or used those around him his entire life. There's no redemption here. I disagree. I think this man is a writer, if I remember. There is always redemption in Christ. While the blood runs red through our veins, we can always repent, honestly call on him. Romans 10:9 through 10 says, if you believe that Jesus is the Son of God and raised him from the dead, confess with your mouth, believe in your heart, you will be saved. So even now, Barry could truly turn to God. Barry claims to be Mr. Christian Man, but if he truly turned to God and in his heart confessed and repent, as the Bible says, there is redemption still. But David thinks there's none. Anyone believing such are foolish lambs awaiting her potential slaughter. Isn't it weird how people use so many things from the Bible? That's Christ was like a lamb to the slaughter, but he's including it here, and he's calling anyone who believes no redemption for Barry a foolish lamb awaiting his or her potential slaughter. So he's saying, look, don't believe Barry is out there and he can be redeemed because you're a foolish lamb and he might slay you. I see what he's saying, okay? He's calling Barry a born killer nurtured by those who sanctioned my sister's death. Thank you for your service, and I look forward to the trial. I see what he's saying. He's saying don't believe Barry is a changed man. Indeed, just because you believe someone can be redeemed in Christ Jesus, let me be clear, does not mean they need to be free from prison. So that's the David S. Morphew's words. But they're powerful. So I read that whole thing just to go back to Barry's lawyer's statement about it. Now, that was a powerful victim impact statement. And Barry Morphew's lawyer is criticizing it, I guess, when he writes, the public filing of a victim impact statement resulted in worldwide headlines and countless social media postings. Yeah, I see why, because it was so well written and impactful. If Barry killed his sister, he has a right to write a victim impact statement. I don't get it. Then he moves on to something, again, someone who shouldn't be included in this motion at all. It says X and YouTube users film themselves calling the Alamosa Sheriff's Department inquiring of Mr. Morphew's bond status. They show a YouTube video with another day in the car, but all it is showing her doing her due diligence and calling. I've done that many times. The states that allow you to record, you guys have heard it, where I'm proving, okay, I called in to whatever, this police department to find an update on this case or whatever. And then you hear the audio. So I don't even know why he included this YouTube video. It says, while the court cannot limit the public's appetite in the case, by limiting some public exposure, the court may avoid satiating it. Why did he include this? All it is the YouTube creator. They're calling to see if Barry Morphew was released from jail. I don't see anything wrong with that. Some people can try and twist things, and I watch it. And watch out for gaslighting. Watch out for becoming a sycophant. Watch out for being gaslit yourselves. Watch out for anyone trying to amp you up and hype you up based on lies. As researchers, reporters, YouTubers, whomever, you want to do your due diligence and you want to verify facts. If you call a particular place to verify, okay, this person says they work here. Do they work here? And that's it? Or, okay, this person should be a current inmate. Have they been released? And that's it? That's not stalking. That's not threatening, stalking. But it's weird how the word doxing has turned into this thing that as soon as a person writes up some emotional motion and, here, judge, we're in trouble, be afraid, or they get on camera crying, you have to look past it and say, what is truth? If I call a sheriff's office to verify an inmate has been released, and that's it, just to verify, what's wrong with that? Is that doxing? Is that stalking? I can see where that one YouTuber was like, I'm outside this other guy's house. And I'm not saying that. I'm saying, like, if you were relying on publicly available documents, body cam video, and even then, I go over and above a lot of times to redact stuff. I'm just saying, watch out for people just trying to get you to think everything is doxing. Everything is what they want you to think it is. The lawyer said after live streaming in violation of this Colorado statute and the court's orders, Mr. Riches films himself stating, I call them, Morphew's daughters, the trio of evil. The way his daughters are smirking with him, they're benefiting financially from this. And they have the timestamps of the now deleted video where they allege he says this. I didn't watch the whole thing, I don't know. Mr. Riches then verbally engages with someone live blogging, claiming to be a resident of Alamosa County, stating, you're welcome, Starla. Thank you. Be safe out there in Alamosa County. Seems like they might be defending criminals out there and giving criminals an opportunity to hit the street. Well, that was his thought process. Barry Morphew's being released, if that's what he said. The lawyer says he goes on, and like Denise said in the comments, I'll be half trying to hunt him down. Manhunt Barry Morphew. Now, those of you who we watch JLR, we know he meant in a media way. We know he likes to do boots on the ground. He likes to get the live time footage. He likes to get the story other people don't get. So I can infer, I know that's what he meant, but the lawyer is including it in here like, manhunt Barry Morphew. I'll be trying to hunt him down, as if he meant something more nefarious. The lawyer said violation of court orders and rules with respect to live streaming is not restricted to this particular court hearing. The case has attracted extreme vitriol, threats, and harassment against Mr. Morphew, his daughters, his defense team, and the court. Immediately after the court proceeding, the name, image, and home address of Barry Morphew's elderly mother was posted conspicuously online by a person identifying himself as Matt Black, Inc. Now, I know after this accusation came out, Matt Black wrote on Twitter he did not publish Barry Morphew's mom's home address, as is alleged right here in this document. I don't know Barry Morphew's mom's home address. Barry's lawyer says Matt Black, Inc. has long been posting about this case, and there's every indication they will continue to do so. And it also says identifying information for Mrs. Morphew has been redacted by counsel, but appeared in the post. That's what they're claiming. And what exactly is doxing? I want to read this definition real quick. Doxed means a person's private identifying info has been published online without their consent to intimidate, harass, or endanger them. This can include their name, address, phone number, workplace, other sensitive details. It can range from online harassment to threats and real-world danger. It can escalate to stalking, and that's what people are afraid of. That's what the judge is afraid of, actually. Let's see if any more documents are on this old docket while I'm at it. I don't see any new ones. And again, all the links are below. So they show another screenshot of Matt Black, Inc. It says during previous proceedings, there were threats, not only against Mr. Morphew, but also his legal team requiring security measures. Now, they've moved on. They're not talking about Matt here. The personal information of attorneys was posted online. He needs to get more specific here. This is where I want to see facts. Personal info of Barry Morphew's attorneys was posted online. What does he mean? His previous legal team? Okay, requiring security measures. Does he mean, okay, this is Barry's lawyer, Iris Eaton, and she works at this firm, and that's her background, and she'll be representing him? That is normal. That's something any news organizations would do. Does he mean someone got on there and's like, Iris Eaton, here's her home address? Okay, if someone did that, that's wrong. This is wrong too. A dead fox, that's why I called it Doc's Fox. A dead fox was found on the porch of one of the attorney's home, and anonymous letters were sent to the home addresses of the attorneys. Okay, I hope they have evidence and photos of this dead fox found on the attorney's porch. If it wasn't just another animal killing the fox and dragging it there as a coincidence, did someone literally put it there? Does that attorney have ring footage of someone placing it there? How did the animal lose its life? What happened there? I don't agree with that. Anonymous letters sent to the home addresses of the attorneys. I don't agree with anonymous letters going to their home. And we don't even know the contents. What were the contents? Was a police report made? Where's the evidence? Negative online reviews of counsel are constant. In addition, counsel for Mr. Morphew has had to take personal security measures for our homes and offices. I do feel for judges and lawyers who are the subjects of anger, people who don't agree with their decisions. Even if we ever disagree with a jury's decision, a judge's decision in terms of, these orders or in terms of a verdict in a bench trial, never, ever, ever does that mean take justice into your own hands and become some sort of vigilante. Justice is mine, says the Lord. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. You sit back and you pray about it, or you fight however you can fight in terms of fighting with your vote, who you vote in and out. Now, here we go. This is where I really wanted evidence, because this is another strong accusation. A previous district court judge on this case, Judge Ramsey Lama, was doxxed with his home address posted online. I was like, oh my goodness, who did that? Where's the proof? He has the number little superscript 6. So I looked down at 6, thinking I'm going to see this YouTuber or this Twitter person. Here's the proof. And, of course, they'd redact the judge's home address, but they would say, look what they wrote. What did they write? What did they post? Did they say something threatening like, hey, everybody, go over there to this judge's house? Like, what are the details? I thought I was going to get details. No, all you see down in the footnotes is, in 2023, judges were added to Colorado's anti-doxing law. Okay, that's good. That's wonderful. They should be. But where's the proof and the evidence, the grounds, the basis for this claiming Judge Lama was doxxed? Who did it? Where's the proof? And that's my thing. What do you consider doxing? If someone published, let's say Judge Lama's name and photo, here's Barry's new judge or whatever, is that what he's calling doxing? Lord knows if he had worse evidence, he would have included it here. So that's why I'm dubious about this motion, this order, and how it just amped up the judge to say, oh yeah, we better block everyone from the Webex. Anyway, the lawyer continues. On June 20th, 2025, the court issued a lengthy and detailed order regarding expanded media coverage. In it, the court rules at paragraph 12, there shall be no zoom or close-ups made of any of the proceedings. That's the same thing Koberger's judge ruled too. Despite this, in both subsequent hearings, the media ignored this court's order and zoomed in on Mr. Morphew. So they actually have screenshots from court TV of flippin' Morphew smiling at his daughters or whomever when he walked in. These are some great thumbnails. Love court TV. Barry's lawyer is trying to use it like, oh, look what court TV did. They zoomed in on Barry. Barry's lawyer knows it makes his client look bad. So they're going after court TV. And might I say, I get it. Media people are busy. Especially like a court TV. YouTubers are busy covering so many cases. And I know the onus, I guess, is on us to read through these voluminous amounts of freaking rules. Some people genuinely may have read it and not understood it, or maybe it was never transmitted to the camera person, this particular judge, you can't zoom in on the defendant at all. I don't know, it's like splitting hairs. But Barry's lawyer says while the abuse of the EMC order is grounds for a different motion, it is raised here to express the need to limit what the public is consuming. This court has the power and obligation to order complete cessation of remote live streaming because there's a reasonable likelihood remote observation of live proceedings risks compromising the safety of any person, Barry's right to a fair trial, including violations, all that stuff we read before. The lawyer went on to say the abuse of live streaming represents a blatant violation of this court's orders against broadcasting the live stream proceedings, as well as this court's specific prohibition on photographing and publishing images of the victims. It cannot be doubted that in the setting of the extraordinary hysteria and vitriol surrounding this case, all individually and cumulatively create a reasonable likelihood of risks to physical and emotional safety, intimidation, and harassment, inflaming tens of thousands of viewers to haunt Mr. Morphew and calling his daughters part of a trio of evil and declaring the court would need to hide herself. So they're saying, Judge, that person was telling you to hide yourself, when I don't interpret it that way at all. You guys know how I interpreted it. Like, oh, the judge is just hiding herself from the camera. Barry's lawyer calls it alarming, illegal, by any definition is harassment, intimidation, traumatic to emotional safety, and a risk to the physical safety of Mr. Morphew, his daughters, lawyers in this court. That's my deal. While I think a lot of this is kind of trumped up and over-the-top language maybe from his lawyer, I get it. No one should be mailing anonymous letters to lawyers or judges. That just harms all of us. We're all now painted with the same broad stroke. These crazy true crime people, these wild YouTubers, like none of y'all follow instructions, where I go through pains to read what the actual judge's wishes are. But it gave Barry Morphew's lawyer ammunition to write this and make the judge act on it and take away access, basically, from almost all of us. Just wait till you see what you need to, be deemed credentialed media. I don't know. This has made me sad, angry. I'll be over it. We just want to see Suzanne get justice. I pray she gets justice. I do wish that some YouTubers and viewers could just tone down the rhetoric. Even if we, of course, don't like Barry Morphew, I'm not going to be issuing any threats against that man, against his attorneys, against his daughters, no one. I just like to wait and hear that guilty verdict and hear that sentencing. It says a public trial guarantee is a right created for the benefit of the defendant. It's best understood as a trial open to the public, meaning the public has a reasonable opportunity to be physically present to observe the proceedings. This is not a right that requires live streaming of court proceedings. But to be sure, however, the purpose of the right to a public trial extends beyond the accused. Public access to criminal trials permits the public to participate in and serve as a check upon the judicial process. It's essential. So that's why they're saying, look, we've satisfied this right by allowing the public to attend the trial in person. And might I say, hopefully people don't go to the trial and are up there trying to sneak. Remember like in Libby and Abby's, Richard Allen's trial, I think people were trying to sneak phones or something supposedly. It's just talking about as long as the courthouse remains open and members of the public who wish to watch Barry's trial can do so in person, the court's obligation to hold public proceedings is satisfied. They suggested this only less restrictive alternative that Barry's lawyer could suggest is for the court to terminate the live stream while allowing persons with verified, requiring an email address to register, Webex account users platform to remotely observe proceedings. Well, you'll see. In that way, observers will have to identify themselves with a registered account, and that's what I always do. When I jump on these live streams, I'm either like Plunder LLC, Paula Mooney, PM, like I put identifying info. Their IP identifier may be tracked by the court's IT department if necessary. It says while Barry's lawyer is skeptical, this alternative will ensure there's no audio or visual recordings, including photography or screenshots. It is a less restrictive measure, short of terminating all viewing and listening in real time in any remote form. But that's what the judge is going to do. No video, no audio. Real time for everyone. So that's what he submitted September 19th. And then the judge's orders came back. So there was this amended order preemptively granting requests for expanded media coverage. So basically it just talks about, okay, yeah, you can have all the expanded media coverage, but the court is going to require strict adherence to the parameters outlined. So it's saying only 3 spots will be reserved for media vehicles, only 3 spots in the parking lot. That lets you know how small this place is. No more than 1 spot per media outlet may be taken at a time, allotted first come, first served basis. No more than 5 credentialed members of the media shall be allowed in the courtroom on any given day. They shall be confined to the backmost right row of the courtroom. I agree. Victims, Suzanne's loved ones should have the good seats, of course. So the media has to be in the backmost right row. I hope they can hear what's going on. Well, it does say 1 member of the media will be allowed to record the proceedings with an agreement to share that video and audio with all other media outlets who request it. But wait till you hear what happened when I requested this. Any member of the media unwilling to share its video or audio with any other credentialed member of the media will not be permitted to record. Members of the media are solely responsible for making all these pooling arrangements. So yeah, you can have a pool photographer, videographer in there. So 1 will be allowed. And that's how we get those good snippets of like Court TV had Barry smiling or wherever, whoever the pool media person was is supposed to be able to, share that with us. It's not the whole, usually, you know how all of our viewers tend to like the whole court proceeding. Let me watch the entire thing, like we did with Letitia Stauch's case. One of her trials, I know, I'm trying to remember the trials. Some we weren't allowed to record. I remember different ones, so I don't record. I went through the pains of, even Barry Morphew's other one, went through the pains of buying all these transcripts, like hundreds of dollars worth of transcripts. Usually the pool videographer, they don't tend to publish their entire raw video. So it's not like you can see anything. You'll just see maybe snippets or highlights from major decisions. Priority will be given on a first come, first served basis for seats in the courtroom and recordings. All other members of the media may watch the proceedings via Webex or from the media room. There's no audio or video recording of the Webex, whether present in the media room or viewing remotely. And this is what, was confusing previously in the order. The following conditions shall be applied to credentialed media. Only media credentialed by the Colorado Judicial Department will be admitted. Media must be on the list of credentialed media by 4 p.m. last business day prior to the hearing. Media wishing to join the Webex must sign into the Webex at least 30 minutes prior to the start of the hearing. If you're later than that, you can't get in. Each person from the media wishing to join the Webex will sign in using their own full name and the media outlet they represent. Call letters are sufficient. Media joining Webex shall have video enabled and their camera on. The camera will remain on through the entirety of the hearing. No media will be permitted to join via telephone. Only 1 individual from each outlet will be admitted, not entire newsrooms. I've had judges say that before. Again, of course, Fulton County, certain hearings like Nesto, Ernest Williams, we were able to jump on and just view it first. And then all this drama and complaints happen. And so the next time we logged in, it's like, oh, no, cam up. You got to cam up. You got to get on screen. So judges have done that before. There shall be no video, audio recordings made of any part of the courthouse outside of the single recording. Blah, blah, blah. Of course, no video, audio of any minor victim, jury, witness, court staff member. No still photography, no added lighting, no boom mics, all this stuff. So a lot of that is standard. And there's another standing order on decorum before I tell you what you have to do to be a credentialed media person. And I got to tell you what this judge finally decided. In her recent order granting Barry's unopposed motion to cease monitored live stream, the motion again we read, the unredacted one, available on the court website. It was filed September 19th, 2025, addressing violations concerning the live stream criminal proceedings. Motion D9 is granted. She says both this case and the prior one against Barry Morphew have granted an unbelievable amount of local, state, national, international attention. If you enter Mr. Morphew's name into any internet search engine, many thousands of results return. This is perhaps not surprising considering the explosion of interest in the true crime genre. Might I just say, I hate when they derisively, maybe she didn't mean it, of course, this way, but people derisively refer to these true crime people, or I hate when they're like true crime influencers, or just because you want to follow a case, you're good at getting documents and info, putting together videos, presenting it, and hoping for victims to see justice. It's almost like some people treat like that's a bad thing. It's just weird. Like from back in the day when I was a blogger, it's always derisively bloggers when people figured out what bloggers were. I'm becoming a YouTuber. Now it's like true crime influencer. I'm like, okay. Explosion of interest in the true crime genre with the development of podcasts and streaming television in the last decade. There are more than 20,000 true crime podcasts in existence and available on free podcast services like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Several podcasts have already covered the case against Barry Morphew in some capacity, but this level of interest has also increased the level of difficulty a court such as mine, she writes, has in protecting the right to a fair trial and the safety of those involved in these sorts of cases. There have been 2 court dates in this matter since the grand jury returned an indictment against Mr. Morphew on June 18th, 2025. Both have been available to the public via the state's live streaming service. Following the September 2nd, 2025 status conference, it came to my attention that an individual with a YouTube channel named JLR Investigates posted a recording of the status conference, including the admonition that there shall be no recording made. JLR Investigates unlawful recording included comments from some of the 17,000 plus people who viewed the unlawful recordings. Some of the commentary, including from JLR, takes issue with the constitutional requirement that the defendant is presumed innocent until proven otherwise, propounds several conspiracy theories concerning this case, and threatens violence against me. I was like, whoa, she wrote that. So she's saying some of the commentary, including from JLR, takes issues with all these things, but then it says, and threatens violence against me. I think that's what she got wrong there. That person who commented, judge needs to hide herself or whatever, the judge took that as a threat against the judge. And it says, and threatens violence against me, attorneys for both sides, others, including several victims. But JLR Investigates is not the only YouTube channel that unlawfully recorded and then posted live stream hearings in this matter. Now, this is where she talked about the content of the screenshots of the unlawful recording and commentary by viewers was redacted in the publicly available motion. But anyway, the unredacted motion again is still on the court website. The defendant's motion also discussed the conduct of another YouTube channel that similarly displayed unlawful recorded live stream proceedings and channels that recorded other concerning behavior related to the case. It says, I took these to be examples of the most egregious behavior that unfolded after the September 2nd, 2025 hearing, not an exhaustive list. These individuals, including JLR Investigates, will hereafter be referred to as the offending observers. The names of these additional offending observers are being excluded to prevent further traffic to their channels, thus compounding the problem they created. Well, JLR's video is already down, so that's neither here nor there. But that shows you why the judge made this order. She felt personally threatened by a comment, which I just think was misconstrued. Judge would need to hide herself. Judge would need to hide herself. I think that's the one that's been misconstrued. And there you go. So they're pausing. She says pausing, not stopping, but pausing the availability of the public's access to live streaming. It does not run afoul of the constitutional right to a public trial. So, I'm sure the media won't get together with their lawyers and fight this because they're like, good, those YouTubers are out. Our little YouTube competition is out of here. They go through and talk about the rights to a public trial, and it'll still be a public trial, basically. And she goes through and says, we could do audio only. I'm paraphrasing her. Read the docs for yourself. We could do audio only, but the courtroom doesn't have sufficient technological capabilities. In essence, she's saying, look, if I do not pause the unfettered live streaming of hearings in this case, at best, the unlawful recordings and venomous commentary may affect both or either party's right to a fair trial by tainting the small jury pool through the prevalence of factual inaccuracies and the court of public opinion. While the impact of outside commentary is not an uncommon concern in a high-profile case, what is occurring because of the behavior of the offending observers rises to a level of seriousness beyond that which something like a change of venue could resolve. At worst, the calls for and acts of violence against the parties and legal professionals will lead to someone being physically hurt. Whew. And that's the crux of it. She kind of describes why they can't do audio only and more of her rules. And then the other unopposed motion shows, the one readily available shows all the things they redacted out, which the other document shows. Oh, it's frustrating. I did try and get the pool video previously. You know, sometimes so many media people are great. You know, I'm like, they'll be really cool. I'll just like email a PIO or a media contact or whatever and say, can you put me on the list for this trial, you know, whatever. And they'll give me the documents. They recognize YouTubers also are people, you know, the ones doing responsible reporting. We want the data. We want to get it correct. We want to pass along correct info to you, our viewers. July 1st, I emailed this chief communications officer, the Denver media contact for the Barry Morphew trial. I'm like, hello, I would like a copy of the courtroom pool reporter's video footage filmed today, July 1st, in this 1:30 p.m. hearing. In this case, people of the state of Colorado versus Barry Morphew. Please add me to the media list of future audio and or video recordings of the case. Gave her all the stuff. That same day, she emailed me back to be considered for media credentials, which will grant access to the video and audio pool recordings. You must apply for them. To be considered, you will need to submit the following: evidence of assignment by an AP accredited media outlet, including contact info for the assignment editor. So you have to be with an Associated Press accredited media outlet. Like, who are they? You know, copies demonstrating past publications about the Colorado court system, judiciary, related legal issues within the past year, including links, copies of written policies on editorial standards, ethical guidelines, professional conduct, names, contact info of editorial board members, list of paid advertisers or sponsors, information on audience reach, traffic data, number of subscribers, written explanation of court recording usage. Media credentials are required to be submitted 3 days in advance per our media credential policy. Thus, any credential issued will only be applicable to future hearings and not today's hearing. I'm like, okay, oh my goodness, I didn't even like write her back. I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to dig through, but then it's really Colorado specific. I was going to say, even if I could find any AP accredited articles I've ever written in my life, I'm like, would Yahoo count? I don't know. Then it's like all the other stuff. We have to rely on who can get in there, and we'll see. They probably won't publish the whole pool video, whatever. Job 9:9-10. He is the maker of the Bear and Orion, the Pleiades and the constellations of the south. He performs wonders that cannot be fathomed, miracles that cannot be counted. So there we go. That's what happened. I think hopefully it's a learning lesson for everyone. Mainly, too, it could be a lesson to calm down the rhetoric on both sides. Like, see how people in the public could be scaring court officials even unintentionally, you know, saying stuff, not being very explanatory, or just some people get online and, you know, they're all big and bold and they shouldn't do it. We shouldn't leave room to be misconstrued, misinterpreted. I've had people make videos about me. I don't even watch them. I ignore them. God took care of them. They got taken down. And even one of my viewers had sent me a screenshot. I did report that to the FBI because the YouTuber, maybe she didn't mean it this way, but she was really, it sounded really threatening, her comment. First of all, she was making up stuff, talking about I was a defense attorney working for Chris Watts. Like, I'm like, anyone worth their salt could Google and know in 2 seconds that I obviously was never a lawyer, don't have a JD. I wonder what it takes to get a JD. I'm not a lawyer. I live nowhere near Colorado. was never a lawyer, never on Chris Watts' defense team. But that's the kind of stuff that some people like, they want to be entertaining and they want to be like, I found her and here she is and this, without nary a hint of research. They do that stuff. But anyway, she had left this comment, I guess, on one of her live streams, or she had verbally said this during her live stream, and somebody captured the transcript where she said, well, yeah, I found her, and I found her address and her cell phone number. I know who her family is, and I have their names and everything. If you want to go there, we can. I was like, okay, that's a bridge too far. I did report that to the FBI, just tagging them. Some stuff I like to just capture just in case. Look, here it is. This is what was said. This is threatening. I didn't go make a separate video about it. I didn't even really talk about it. Let the Lord handle those type of people. And he did. He did, you know. So what is my point? Oh, yeah. I know that kind of stuff is entertaining. She might have been maybe literally meaning, because she was the type to travel. Literally, maybe she was trying to amp up her viewers. Like, literally, let's go to this woman's house that we think is Chris Watts' lawyer. Even though I'm totally wrong about that, but my research skills are lacking. But maybe she was trying to amp up some viewers just to get out of the house and like, let's go over there and yell at her house. Or she might have been like, oh, we can go there if you want. Kind of like metaphorically. You want to go there? You know, but the thing is, you can't tell through the language. So my point is, I have seen people create some pretty crazy videos around all these different crime cases. And it's sad when the rhetoric gets amped up. Some people might think of it as entertaining, or I'm being there for my viewers and I'm saying stuff off the hip. And if that part could be toned down, that would be great. Because the sad thing is, out there in that hyped up crowd might be a troubled person who will answer the call and go there physically and try and harm someone. That's what Barry's lawyers and judge are afraid of. So part of me now, reading through all the evidence, doesn't quite blame her, unfortunately, for blocking access for 99% of us to see this thing. I mean, look how afraid Judge Lama was. It made him paranoid. He's like, look, some people are taking this case too seriously.
Good, and yourself, sir?
Judge Lama, Officer Body Count.
Nice to meet you. You've been in my courtroom before.
A couple times, yes, sir.
Yeah.
So he's
bigger than I remember.
Oh, he's bigger.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, you know what it is? I probably look smaller because I'm on the bench. It's like a Wizard of Oz effect. Nobody recognizes me off the bench. I'm super short.
So this is his first night on this week. Do you guys work through Wednesday?
Yep.
Okay, so he'll be on through Wednesday night.
All right.
So at least from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., this will be the shift that's around.
See some extra patrols.
Yeah, Sergeant Sabatino's shift will take over in the morning, and they'll be on through Wednesday as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just hoping we could get an initial statement as far as kind of how all
if that's all right with you.
Oh, absolutely.
Sweet.
His son's inside, so we're just going to do it here. He wants to flex with it.
My son
perfectly fine.
And my mom, so I don't want them to worry.
No worries.
I'm not sharing that with my kiddo. Yeah. For obvious reasons, you know. Yep. So if you don't mind, I'll give you whatever statement you need.
Perfect. So start from the beginning. What's going on with this?
So riding this afternoon, I got a call from my media director for Colorado. And he said, Judge, I know you don't pay attention to weird internet stuff, but you better see this one. I was like, well, I don't. Why are you telling me about it? He said, it seems threatening, and you should be aware of it. You know, I have one child, a 7-year-old boy. Whoops, let me turn the light on. Let's see. You need a Coke or anything?
No, I'm okay. Thank you, sir.
So I get home, I watch the video, and it's weird. He's wearing body armor, like a bulletproof vest, and then he goes on, he's just talking trash about me, my ex-wife, her daughter. Well, he references my son, but he says, we'll keep the kid out of it, which of course was concerning to me.
Right.
And he's just, upset about rulings I made that he didn't like, I'm a judge, people say bad things about you all the time. We're kind of used to it. But he seemed to take it to another level. At about minute 22, he says, Judge Lama needs to resign or get off the case. I'm giving you time. And, you can take a look at the video. It was certainly concerning to me. It goes on for maybe, I don't know the exact time, over 40 minutes.
Okay.
I normally would not watch something like that, but because it implicated my family and it was threatening.
Right.
like, this is my first job as a dad.
Yeah.
Judgeship second, safety first.
Yes, sir.
So then that was at about, I watched it at maybe 3:30, 4. Then my ex-wife dropped my son off at 5, and she said, I need to talk to you. Strangers are reaching out to me on Facebook, saying photos of me, because he posted photos of my ex-wife in a bikini. He like found them on Facebook or something, right? And he was posting our divorce decree on Facebook. He was posting our marriage certificate. And so she said she was getting contacted by strangers, asking her about me, what she knew about me, if I was ever abusive, and she got freaked out, so she blocked them. And so she showed up today, kind of a nervous wreck about it. She also said a woman is showing up at her church. That was today, where my son was with her. And the same woman was at a park. So she's really concerned. She hasn't watched the video yet, but I said, yeah, there's a weird video out there. The video in general, it's definitely a rant. But it's concerning to me because, like I said, he seems to, at about minute 22, and maybe throughout the whole video, he's mildly threatening me because he's wearing a bulletproof vest.
Right.
Which, and he just, it was concerning. But I'd say, probably should watch the full video. I can get it to you too.
I got it sent to me. I was watching a little bit before I came up here.
Okay, so you saw it.
I've only seen like the first maybe 10 minutes so far. So.
All right. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. And then of course now I'm being vigilant. I'm in the process of moving. I'm going to be out of here next Monday. So I'm moving right now. That's getting everything ready. So I got docket tomorrow. Otherwise, I'm kind of just working on the move throughout the week. But I was going to tell you, had a neighbor coming over, so I was giving him stuff at about 3:30. I didn't say anything about the post. I had watched by then. And he goes to his wife, geez, honey, this guy's gone up and down the street like 4 times. Now, it may have been a coincidence. But I had him for sale sign, so maybe he was looking at the for sale sign, so I took him out. Okay. But he did go up and down. I was like, well, let's get his plate if he comes back. He didn't come back.
He didn't? Okay.
No, it was a beige truck.
Do we know what make, model?
It's like my neighbor Kelly's got a beige truck.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar to the color he's got. It's similar to this color, but it's not that truck. That's my neighbor.
Okay.
It's similar to that color.
Sorry.
But
kind of
it's not as high up. 4 doors.
Is it like
GMC maybe?
GMC?
Yeah, I was thinking GMC or Chevrolet.
Okay. Do you approximate year?
I would guess between 2015 and 2020.
2015, 2020. Okay.
So newish. 4-door, beige. God, if he had just come back up. And of course, I saw him go this way and then up. And then we were talking about it. And then he went down and he just kept going. And we were like, okay, we gotta get his plate at that point. Yeah. But we thought, well, it could be because you had the for sale signs out, which I took down. They were, So, it's the house is sold, and the other property's mine, that land there.
Okay.
So we sold that, but it's pretty much just the video. There's just a weird, unhealthy interest in this case.
Yeah.
The Morphew case.
So that's what I was informed, is it was reference to that.
Yeah, and the case started in Salida, and then Judge Murphy, the chief judge, had a conflict, and the chief justice appointed me. And then I was in Salida for maybe 4 hearings. So I had an interaction with him in court.
Oh, really?
Yeah, January 23rd. I think that's why he's so upset. His name was brought up by the defense attorneys on record, and it was being broadcast on Webex, so he heard that when he heard his name. Well, they brought his name up because they've got this whole investigation team, and they said, it looks like somebody named is broadcasting this. And they made this record, and we definitely had some feed going out. We didn't have an answer, so I shut it down. He shows up the next day to quote-unquote clear his name. He's in the courtroom, and the defense and DA show up and say, Judge Lama, that's the guy. We'd like you just to inquire if he was the one. So I close the courtroom. I say, you're not in any trouble, sir. Do you mind coming up here? I have a couple questions for you. We're trying to identify him, make sure he had the right account. So I'm like, again, you're not in any trouble. Were you the one saying Judge Lama? He's like, yeah, it was me. I didn't mean any disrespect. I was like, it's okay. You can say F the judge outside of court. Just can't say it in. You're fine, sir. long story short, we determined he wasn't the one with the hack. And I said, you're fine. Courtroom's open. You can be in here and watch court. So he watched court. He left after a couple hours. And then since then, his name came up again because the defense investigator said they have information that he's threatening the defense team and the judge. This was a couple weeks ago. So I let my security, Fremont County SO know. And he never showed up, but they started, just being mindful of him. He didn't come to court. And then that was 2 weeks ago. And then March, I think it was March 11, this video broadcast. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's it. So.
Well, are you wanting anything done? Like, if we can pursue charges against him, do you want to pursue charges?
Why don't you guys take a look at the video, see what you think? I mean, I know there's retaliation against a judge. See if you guys think it fits. He's definitely getting close. It would be at minute 22, where I think was the closest thing, because he says, I think it was a threat, but he says something to the effect of, I've done this before, I've given somebody time before, and I'm going to do it now. You need to get off the case, recuse, resign, or, and I don't know what he says. It's in the video. It's like, I'm going to come for you, or, not. No, he didn't say that. I think he intimated he was going to, be posting things or doing things, and so, and he definitely seemed to be talking to an audience of, followers. And I feel like my ex-wife is getting the brunt of that because she's now been contacted. Right. And I don't have a public Facebook account for that very reason, because I'm sure I would be inundated right now. So, I mean, I'd appreciate if you guys took a fresh look at the video with an independent pair of eyes.
Of course.
Unbiased pair. Because obviously with my kids being implicated, because the thing in the video that really bothered me is what he's dug up about me, my wife, my ex-wife, not still my current wife, but my ex-wife, and he posted a photo in this broadcast that has my ex and her daughter from another marriage holding my baby, and then he said, well, we'll leave the kids out of it, but yeah, if you could see what you guys think, take a fresh pair. But I definitely think I'd rather err on the side of caution, man. I really appreciate the patrols, because he seems unstable. I've seen him in person, and you've probably seen the video.
Because I've seen a little bit so far. I plan on finishing.
Yeah, he gives me the creeps, man. He's a little scary. And I've seen a lot of people come in court. You just never know, predicting human behaviors.
Right.
It's so hard,
Yes, sir.
I don't need to explain it to you.
No, you're good. No worries.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think, there's parts throughout the whole video that are concerning, but I thought around 22.
Okay.
So, yeah. Why don't you take a fresh look, see what you think?
Yes, sir, we'll do.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it.
Of course. And then, we'll continue patrol watches on your residence throughout the week, and
cool.
We'll keep an eye out.
Yeah.
And as Sarge advised, we're going to pass this on to the day shift as well, so they can keep an eye out as well. Is there any other places you'd like us to keep an eye on other than here?
This is it for now.
Okay.
And then when I make the move, I guess I'll want my house watched too.
Yeah.
And I'm moving more into town, so I'm like, great.
When we go,
just had to take advantage of a hot market, didn't you, Lama?
It's all right. I don't blame you.
It is, and I found a house under, and it's closer to Duck Park, and I want that for my son. It's by Lincoln Elementary.
Oh, nice.
So I'm down there. It's like, that would be good for my boy. He's got a lot of friends there. There's sidewalks, parks.
Yeah.
So it was one of those types of deals, but kind of more in town. But at least in Fremont, there's not an unhealthy investment into this case that I'm aware of yet.
Not that I'm aware of.
Not that I'm aware of.
Not that I'm aware of.
It doesn't seem like anybody's following it.
The one question I did think of after we had talked on the phone, was he solely in the courtroom because of the Webex thing?
Yeah.
So other that you are aware of, he doesn't have any investment into the case?
No, he's not a witness, he's not a litigant, he's not a victim, he's not a family member.
So
he's
he
some
felt
guy
like he
in
got
Grand
called
Junction.
out over Webex, so he decided to show up, is that?
Yeah, drove all the way from Grand Junction. And then he shows up in my courtroom in a duster. Those leather dusters?
Yeah. How would he have found out about the Webex thing if it wasn't maybe somebody
My media guy, Rob McCollum, he's convinced there's some leak. He's so aware of everything in the courtroom, because we eventually just said, we're going old school. We didn't used to be like this, just courtroom's open. If you want to see the case, just come into court. This would be easier. But somehow he like knows everything that's going on. And so even that, after we shut it down, like that day, it was January 23rd. I could verify the dates. It was the 23rd or 24th. We had 2 hearings, one on each day. I think it was January 23rd was the hack. So we just were like, we can't figure this out. Let's just shut it down. The 24th, he showed up. And then I said, sir, you're not in any trouble. We just have some questions. We want to see if you were the hack. And so we tried to identify him, because the defense team's been watching him, because they've been concerned about their safety because of him. This is the first I'm now concerned about my safety, my ex-wife's, and my children, my son. So I said, were you the one who said, Judge, you're not in trouble, you can say that outside of court, First Amendment, it's fine, but we're just trying to identify if that's you. He said, yeah, that was me. And then he explained, I wasn't the hack, though, and his story checked out. We didn't have any further questions. I'm like, you're fine, sir, just sit down in the courtroom, you don't have to leave. And so he's like, well, thank you, Judge, and he really softened up. I didn't take the bait, It's like if somebody I don't know, I didn't take the bait, and then he just kind of backed down. He's totally de-escalated. And so then he eventually left after a few hours. And then he requested transcripts, and my staff was like, can you have transcripts? I said, yeah, even the sealed portions, they were about him, give them to him. He got the transcripts, and I got a letter from him saying, this isn't what transpired. I think he was hoping something else was in there.
He mentioned that in the video.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it was about. Yeah, so that's all on the record, and if you guys need to get that. So I denied it. He said, oh, these transcripts are fake, like there's some fraud going on.
He had mentioned that, and I was wondering what he was talking about, but that makes
That's
more
what he's
sense.
talking about. So then he wanted the actual court audio, and we don't give that out. You get a transcript. That's it. That's what you get. So I denied that, and he's mad about that. I mean, it's like it has nothing to do about the case.
And this might be a weird question, too. When stuff like this happens, do you have a team of people who can look into them? Or is it just local law enforcement?
That's a good question.
To figure out.
No, it's a great question. So I should connect you guys. I'm gonna give you guys. Can I give you guys our head security?
Yeah,
of course.
And he's certified. He was a peace officer. Well, I think he's technically still a peace officer. His name is. Oh, 1 second. So he's aware of this. All right, John Putbreeze, Putbrese, and his cell is.
And that's for Colorado courts, or that's for the chief?
He's the head's state security, and he'll get involved when something big's going on. So the media guy let him know, and he saw it, and so he called me. But under statute, the sheriffs have to provide court security, and I just say, maybe I'll have court security. So I was always told, Steve Cook did all that. So I had his number. I was like, well, Steve, we got an issue. And then I was called and told Jim Moore's taking care of it. You guys know Jim Moore?
Yep. Yeah, he called me earlier and informed me about the video.
Okay, good. So it was Jim Moore and then John. And John's actually going to come down here Tuesday. He just wants to see what the layout is of the courthouse, check any security things. So connect with him. He'll appreciate that you guys are doing whatever you're doing.
Of course.
You need to coordinate or whatever.
Does he have access to stuff like NCIC and CCIC criminal histories and stuff like that, or is that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
We're doing all that on our end also, but I just didn't know if maybe he found something that was pertinent to.
Yeah.
This guy.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I felt like he would have told me. He just was calling me. He's like, you comfortable with a gun? I was like, well, I own guns, but I'm not comfortable. I'm not trained to carry them around.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Right.
I respect it. You guys are trained, it's like you guys go through training.
Absolutely. No,
yeah,
absolutely.
so I do have firearms in my house, but I keep them in the house,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm comfortable with,
Okay.
But, yeah, I don't know. The video was concerning.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Much like anything else we do, and obviously you see it from the other side of things when we go to court on it, we take it, very seriously also.
Yeah.
So,
well, I know you guys do.
yeah, anything that comes up, anything that feels off, if you'll just let us know.
Oh, I will. Yeah.
Again, jurisdictionally, not kind of really sure where this lands, other than the fact that you live within ours. So whatever
Yeah.
you need, if something's off, or even a car drives by one too many times, let us know.
Yeah, I'll let you know if I see that one again. And now the for sale signs are down, so if he's coming by again, it's not going to be a coincidence.
Right.
You know, yeah, I'll let you know, and I'll try and get a number. We were sitting here talking, and of course, like, you don't know who it is. You don't want to just run out there.
Right. Here's my business
All right,
card.
cool. All right, well, yeah, I appreciate it. I was telling Officer Bodycomb, like, I'd like a pair of independent, unbiased eyes look at it and see what you guys think, if it's something to press charges on.
Yeah,
Because, I
absolutely.
mean, what comes to mind is seeking retaliation against a judge or threatening a judge. And, for me, it's personal because my son, family, you guys get it. But so, independent, unbiased pair of eyes looking at it, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
course.
We'll definitely do that. As I was driving up here, harassment, stalking were also things that were like, depending on how long this goes or how long it's gone, maybe more towards your ex-wife.
Think about that.
Has
I
she
don't know.
reported it to, because you said Salida, correct?
Well, I talked to John, and John, he was worried about her, and he said she needs to report that to document it.
I would.
So I
absolutely.
told her, you need to report it, but I haven't heard back. She's really freaked out. She thinks she's being followed. She was really freaked out.
So at the least they could,
And I
put
think she's
patrol
being
watch.
followed. A woman showing up to her church, showing up to her park.
Getting
That's-
messages on Facebook. Are these people approaching her? Or she's just
one
nervous?
person. She said one person approached her. She thought was maybe a reporter, but I'm not so sure. Because I said, "Did she give you credentials?" What'd she say? She said, "Talk to me about Suzanne Morphew." And she was like, "Ma'am, leave me alone."
In the video, the guy had mentioned that you live close to the courthouse.
He said that.
Yeah.
No.
And it's like,
He's
that's
calling out. He's saying where my ex lives.
Yep.
And all I can think about is my kid.
right. No, absolutely.
He's going back and forth. And he's got the same name as me. He's Ramsey. So, yeah, he knew a lot of stuff. He got my marriage certificate.
Yeah.
He got my divorce decree. He knew I was a boxer.
He made mention of the fact specifically that he was going to leave your son out of it. But it's still a weird thing to say in a video.
That's threatening.
Yeah.
'Cause- And then he was telling his army of followers, she's a good person, leave her out. And the implication was, but this guy,
He more or less said that in the video.
That's
yeah.
what I
Yeah,
heard.
absolutely.
I
I
mean-
watched, like I said, almost 25 minutes of it. And
that's what I heard. And plus with the vest. So, I mean, from my perspective, yeah, I mean, I think he's threatening me. But, like, I still would like a fresh pair of
Yeah, of
eyes
course.
who are
Yeah.
removed, see
Yeah.
what you guys think.
Of course.
absolutely.
But, yeah.
Anything else tonight?
No, I mean, I think we're good.
I apologize. I didn't want to make it more of a thing right out of the gate, but I
Oh,
wanted to
no,
make sure that
no.
we had
Don't.
something.
I'm glad you guys are up here, and I'm glad you're starting the investigation.
Of course.
I want to make sure we have something because would hate to, tomorrow you come out and there's people still driving by, or
I know.
maybe there's more of a presence of people.
Yeah.
or-
No, I'd rather err on the side of
Yeah,
caution because
most definitely.
he seems unstable.
That trial moved down here, right?
Yeah, I changed venue.
Right. That's what I
Everything
thought.
I do, the guy is like following and is upset about. But
Is there anything that you can do or anything that the court security can do if he decides to show up at whatever the next hearing is?
I mean, I think with, well, so the law on it, to exclude somebody, they usually have to be disruptive, get held in contempt, or they're threatening somebody. He hasn't been back in court, so I think it would be, if we excluded him, it would be because we thought this was a threat.
Right.
I think that would be
Okay.
it.
I mean, if for nothing else, security would at least keep tabs on him while he's in the court.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Saying they're aware of it.
Yeah, and the other concern I would have is, I'm assuming you park in the back, right?
Yeah, we park in the
Okay.
back gate, yeah. I'm thinking about taking this off because this identifies my truck.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I saw you driving
good
down the
idea.
street the other day. I'm like,
I know. People know
Yeah.
that's me because now I'm all blacked out in this. I wear full face
Yeah.
helmet.
okay. I just don't want him necessarily or anybody else, maybe somebody that he's influenced, to be sitting in the parking lot out there just waiting for you
Just
to.
waiting.
No.
Yeah.
I know that seems extreme, but it just,
Rather be safe than sorry.
yeah.
You
You
know-
were just kind of keeping an eye out, having
Some-
maybe security.
Somebody asked me, was there anything seem off to you? And I just thought of something because you mentioned the courthouse. And this is probably a coincidence because this has happened before. and it was a police officer, and they were following me, but my truck just matched the suspect. It was when they were looking for that guy Vortex. That's the street name.
Yep. Woodard.
Nope.
We all know the street names.
Yes, sir.
Enough affidavits.
Yeah.
But I had that happen last week. There was this white, it looked like a government vehicle. It would follow me all the way from the courthouse. And then I made a left off 50 onto 9th heading up this way. And it still made a left following me. I was like, what the hell? And then I thought he pulled off to the Garden Park building. So it could have been a police officer, right? Doing police business. Yeah. I don't know, but now I'm just thinking about people. I'm going to take this thing off. But
So county has a wide variety of cars, and I'm not going to attest to what they drive, but I can tell you any unmarks that we have, it's either going to be that black Ford Fusion, it's going to be a maroon, like a Murano,
okay.
or a maroon Tahoe.
Like a Nissan Maroon?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Or a maroon Tahoe, and both of those are older, but
Okay.
so if either one of my guys is up here, and a white Ford F-150, two-door.
Okay.
So those are our unmarks, unless it's the chief or one of the commanders. They're going to be in a white
Okay.
sedan of some
Alright.
sort, and they'll have the little light on the side. But
Okay. Good to know.
yeah, so if you see any of those, I didn't want you to be surprised by me just driving back.
No, I appreciate you guys coming up here now to get on it, because
Of course.
what were your initial thoughts right now?
I think we're definitely, just based on watching that little bit of the video, he's upset, and I think we could potentially be looking at stalking, whether it be on your ex-wife or whether it be, down here. Not necessarily. I think we're building to that.
Yeah.
That's what it
Gotcha.
seems like to me.
Gotcha.
Obviously, there's some concerns with your ex-wife, and Commander Bell has talked, or maybe it was the chief, had talked with Chief, is it Johnson up there in Salida? Russ Johnson?
Speezy? Oh, Russ Johnson? That sounds familiar.
He's the new police chief, so,
Okay.
and I say new. I don't know if he's been there a couple years as the chief, or I know Robin Vidmar's dad used to be the chief there for...
Is it Terry Clark?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he retired, didn't he?
Yeah, he retired. So I think...
He's for us now.
Yeah, so I think Russ Johnson took over for him, so it might
Okay.
be 2 or 3 years, but that's concerning, especially in Salida. I don't know much about Salida. I think
Yeah.
it seems a pretty calm area. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
off
it
on that.
is. It's pretty quaint, but it's changing.
Is it?
But this case over there was like an unhealthy interest. It's part of the reason why it got changed the venue here. It was, yeah, I mean, it was intense, the interest there.
Is I'm trying to find the right word, the flack that you're catching over this case, or the interest, different in any way than some of the other ones you've had, like some of the other higher profile cases you've had?
Never. That's a great question. I asked, so Rob McCallum, he's like the head media guru for this branch of judicial. And he goes around the state and deals with media, helps them get what they want on high profile cases. So this is a very high profile case because there's like interests, Dateline, CBS, or, and people are interested in it. They have been for a while. I said, is this weird internet thing normal in high profile case? He said, no. He's like, we're way beyond the status quo. This does not normally happen. This weird internet interest. I mean, it's some of the I don't watch this stuff, but I hear about it. Like the podcasts, people have like this obsession with this case. And I think that's what this individual is. And he's free to do that, but you can't threaten me.
Right, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Or my ex.
Right.
Most definitely.
You can be interested, or my,
Right.
Yeah.
Another weird question. When you were watching that, that's not an actual courtroom, is it?
No, I don't think so.
It
I
looked
think
green screen to me, or something to
Yeah.
that effect, but...
no, not that I'm aware of. And
So he's not just chilling in a courthouse somewhere waiting for...
No, I don't think so. And that's not Grand Junction's courthouse either. I worked as a public defender of Junction, so I know
Okay.
it, and that's where he's out of.
Yep.
So that's where my marriage certificate's from, as he
Okay.
noted.
It seemed a lot longer than most courtrooms that I've seen.
Yeah.
And so
I think it's a green screen.
That's what it looked like
Yeah.
to me, but I just want to make sure he's not just camped out in some courtroom.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
waiting
No.
Okay.
No, and that's nothing in our courthouse at all, Chafee, anywhere in this jurisdiction. It's not Grand Junction. So
Okay.
it's a green screen for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have concerns about going to work?
I mean, I'm going to be vigilant.
Okay.
I think I'll get there. I'm gonna take this off. I'm just gonna be careful.
Okay.
But no, I think I'll be fine getting to work.
Okay.
Now I know the SO, their court security. They've told me when I'm leaving if I want an escort, if I'm nervous someday, they would follow me out. So.
Well, I would offer the same for myself. If you come out here and you see something that seems off, because my car's as low key as it is, I'd be more than happy to come out here and take you in if you need.
Okay.
Whether you want to follow me or I follow you or whatever.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll let you know for sure.
Any questions for us?
No, just when you guys finish reviewing that, let me know what you think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been repeating to Officer Bodycomb, Sergeant Bodycomb now?
Officer.
Stand in, Sergeant.
Yeah. Just fill in a role for
I
him.
think at minute 22, that was my most concerning.
Okay.
If you guys look at that, I'd like to see what you guys think about that one, because I thought he was threatening me to get off the case, and he was trying to intimidate me. He was implying something else is going to happen.
That's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah, is that what the vibe you got?
Because he had mentioned if you don't recuse yourself, we're going to, proceed.
And I don't know if it was we're going to dig up more about your past. It's like, okay, well, I've only been married once. Divorced once. I don't know what's coming next. Got some traffic tickets.
Pulled over the other day. I'm like, ugh.
You got pulled over?
You did. Well, it might have been a month ago or a couple weeks ago. Somebody ran your plate, something like that.
Oh.
Like, don't.
Oh, was that?
I hear your last name come over the radio.
They didn't stop me. Was I speeding?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I was just listening to the radio, but.
Maybe it was the day I thought somebody was following me.
That could be.
Was it like a few days ago?
It seemed like maybe a week. Maybe a little longer than that, but.
I mean, if I'm going to speed.
The bike, for sure.
Sometimes the clutch is easy to do.
I got pulled over for the second time in my life. Not this last October, but of 2020. No. Yeah, 2020. And Loveland PD, I just looked down and I'm like, I'm going 65, or it was 64 and a 55. He pulled me over. Give me a ticket for, he said I was going 70 something, and I just was like, man, that's terrible. that's rough.
So how many point ticket was that?
So it was 4, and I paid it because I wasn't going to drive back up to Loveland to sit in court and try to argue something.
Yeah, that would have been the same thing.
Yeah, so 2 points.
Okay.
There's this guy, he thought the guy was driving by his house, and granted, I guess it's a fine line between reporting and stalking. I think whomever was trying to follow Judge Lama's ex-wife, whoever that was probably just trying to get a quote, trying to get something. Where does it cross the line? Is it crossing the line in the Idaho 4 case to approach one of Ethan's, shout out to Ethan, it's his birthday today, I believe. Wow. Ethan Chapin. And how old would he have been? I think maybe 23 today. I'm filming this Thursday, October 30th. Is it crossing the line? You're a reporter. Your job is to get these quotes, to find info. Is it crossing the line to interview one of his frat brothers? The guy was kind of caught off guard. Is it crossing the line to sneak into Brian Koberger's parents' neighborhood and knock on their door? Maybe not necessarily. Some of us call that great reporting, boots on the ground, stuff I don't do. I'm sitting here in my home in my chair and I'm I purchased the body cam videos. I really dig deep, but I don't go to people's houses generally. I remember driving past one crime scene locally to bring you guys, not the actual, crime. It's just after it happened. Where's the line? Viewers want to see boots on the ground. They want that info. Where is the line? I guess we all have to decide. So maybe, I guess on our end, kind of representing the public or the people making comments on live stream videos and, maybe toning that down or being more descriptive or just not being threatening, not saying anything that could be construed as threatening, no matter if you're under your real name or not. Nothing you would say to someone, you wouldn't say to someone to their face. At the same token, the court officials may be taking a little time and realizing, okay, not everything is a threat. This woman who talked about the judge hiding herself, or whoever that was, probably was not threatening the judge. But the lawyer is positioning it as if she were, so here we are. Anyway, whatever all I said today, hopefully it helps someone. And again, the only thing I've shown in this document are publicly available court documents. You hear that, YouTube? And everyone who watches and lawyers, whatever, publicly available documents. That's all I've shown. I have not recorded anything from Barry Morphew's live stream. I didn't live stream it. I didn't film it. I didn't rebroadcast it, anything. I'm just showing the publicly available document, the judge's orders, Barry's lawyer's document, in order to bring you the happenings in this case, the comments specifically that drove the judge to have fear and create this order blocking all of us. Hope that makes sense. Hope everything flies. Please protect and prosper this video in Jesus' name, I pray. And yeah, maybe it'll be a learning lesson for everyone. Just even though it's entertaining and people may be mad and, they want to cuss out Barry. And of course, people are so angry at him, but it doesn't have to turn into untoward behavior that lumps us all in as these rogue internet people who are all threatening. We're not. I'm just trying to bring you the facts. I'm just trying to wait for justice. This whole video also is an explanation as to why I probably won't be bringing you any Barry Morphew courtroom video like I've done in the past. Like, I don't even know if I could buy the transcript. Maybe they'd let me do that. I have no idea. Whatever. I just want to see this case be adjudicated and God's will to be done. Justice is coming for Suzanne Morphew. Thank you for watching.
My ex-wife dropped my son off at 5, and she said, I need to talk to you. Strangers are reaching out to me on Facebook, saying photos of me, because he posted photos of my ex-wife in a bikini. He found them on Facebook or something, right? And he was posting our divorce decree on Facebook. He was posting our marriage certificate. And so she said she was getting contacted by strangers, asking her about me, what she knew about me, if I was ever abusive. And she got freaked out, so she blocked them. And so she showed up today, kind of a nervous wreck about it. She also said a woman is showing up at her church. That was today, where my son was with her. And the same woman was at a park.